everybody. So, we all, if we have chronic symptoms, the chances are very good that we have certain triggers that seem to bring them on more. And they can just be oftentimes a thought of sitting in a chair, right? And worrying about sitting in a chair is going to start making those symptoms worse. And I want to kind of differentiate between the different kinds of triggers and something that happened to me that I feel got in the way of my recovery, all right? Because we want to see kind of things that don't work, and I want to share those things a little bit with you. And this was a big one for me. So, in the beginning of my recovery, when I first started finding out about this mind-body stuff and getting really clear about it, I had a number of triggers, as many of us do. And one of them was sitting in a chair, sitting in a car. And, once I got the clarity that sitting wasn't dangerous, then I could sit often for hours without getting any pain, right? I mean, the brain still kind of thought it was a little bit iffy, like I'd get up after sitting a long time and I'd have more symptoms, but it wasn't affecting my inner sense of self. And this is what I want to talk about, okay? That this particular trigger for me, sitting, wasn't affecting my inner sense of self. All right? Now, for some of you, it might. All right? And stick with me here because I'm going to describe another trigger that did, okay? And that trigger for me, because of my symptoms, I had, real severe sensation down my right leg, inner thigh, glute, knee, shin, foot. And it caused everything to contract, and I was walking on a cane and I looked really bad. And I had to walk very, very slow. And walking around in my little town, my town is very small where a lot of us know each other, and it's a pedestrian kind of a place. But I knew that, because walking was such a big trigger for me, that I had to walk. So I would be fine. I mean, it would still be a physical trigger going to the state park down the road where there wasn't any people and walking to the park bench, right? And there were trees and the river, and it was beautiful, and I could enjoy it. I can enjoy being out even though I had very high sensations, okay? However, walking around my town was a different story. Walking around my town, there was the inner sense of self felt very insecure, okay? And I didn't really, my experience of that insecurity I wasn't really clear about it. I just knew that I didn't like being seen walking like that. I was scared to death to be seen. And I remember oh no, I hope they don't look at me, right? I remember feeling this. Now this is not my normal sense of self, but something was coming up, right? Something was coming up from the unconscious into a subconscious realm. And this something, this part of my being was very triggered. And this trigger of walking and being seen in my town, it didn't matter if I knew them or not, was really triggering my inner sense of self. All right? Now, this is something that I've struggled to share. When I was in a coaching group and I was confused about this because it was so strong. So I asked for advice about, I'm scared to have people see me. What are they thinking about me? And I was trying to be very honest about what I was feeling and experiencing. And the advice I got back was not skilled and not helpful at all. The advice I got back was, don't care about what other people think. Now, this is a big deal in TMS recovery because a lot of us have a personality that really cares about what other people think. It just kind of goes with the package, right? And if we're getting advice that say, you got to get over that, don't care about what other people think, the chances of us causing more repression are very high. So I took that advice because I was very new and just wanting to get better. And when I'd walk down the street and that insecure, scared feeling about what people were thinking and having people see me came up, I tried to apply that advice. Don't care about what they're thinking. And so by doing that, I inadvertently was pushing that part down. I was repressing it. And I did this for a very long time. And what it was doing, it was causing the symptoms to get worse. It was causing this shakiness inside of me that was pretty high. My alarm was really up there to be on full-on danger mode, okay? Because I was repressing something. And by me repressing, the brain was getting the message that that insecure, scared part that was afraid of what people were thinking was dangerous. And she was trying to come up because she was in a trigger. That's what triggers do, is they bring stuff up. Okay? You with me? So when this trigger was coming up, and I was saying, don't care about what people think, I was like, it's like having a child that's just crying for help, and you're like, get over it, right? And we tend to do this, I think, in this work, because we have these personality traits that are about worrying about what people are thinking, putting pressure on ourselves, being perfectionism. And all that is coming from this inner insecurity that I talked about in my last video, right? And it's not about getting in touch with this really strong emotion or whatever. It's about acknowledging this part that's scared, that's insecure. That part of me that was being triggered walking down the road was quite insecure, quite scared. And all she was asking for was being met and acknowledged and allowed to be that way. And it wasn't until I learned about parts work and got basic training in parts work, I don't know, 2 years later, that I finally started to see what was happening. Because I did that for 2 years. The first year was horrible, but then I kept doing that. Don't care about what people are thinking. Get over it. Be strong. Walking down the street, don't care. And it didn't leave. It didn't work at all. And now, I don't know, 3.5 years later, I still have a little limp. It's just kind of a learned thing. It's getting better. Some days it's barely there. But when I walk down the street, I acknowledge if there's anything that comes up. Yeah, I know you're scared about that. You're fine. Allowing it to be there, to be nervous. And it's not really there anymore, but I had to work with it. So I wanted to share this because we really have to be careful about the advice we're given. Because not everybody is skilled in the emotional repression stuff. It's a lot of advice is being given that's really basic. And for the sitting trigger, that basic advice worked. Yeah, sitting's not dangerous. I knew it wasn't dangerous. I got in it. I remember getting in the car and driving for 2 hours going, wow, that's amazing. But there was that inner sense of self wasn't being triggered. The psychological component wasn't being triggered. When I got out of the car and went into the store and had somebody see me walking, then it was triggered. And I didn't know what to do with that. And I remember saying, oh, walking isn't dangerous. It didn't work. There was something inside that was not being addressed. Okay. So I hope this is helpful for you. When we are doing this work, we have to really look and see what is actually happening in me. And when we're so desperate, right, to feel better, especially in the beginning, we just want to find relief, and so we tend to want to trust everything. We want it, and that's kind of giving our power away a little bit, and I did that. But I was not myself. I did not feel like myself. My alarm was really high. So, repression is a big deal. And we all do it. So in this work, in this little realm of in the personality traits, those personality traits are there because of that insecure part inside. It's obvious. That's why we have developed those personality traits, because of that insecure part. And working with that insecure part and allowing and acknowledging it and allowing it when she shows up, and let's just go right to it. It's so simple, really, if we can just go right to it. All right, I hope this was helpful. All right. And I'll talk to you later. Have a great day.